Cool. We're live now. I figured this is it kind of a, I don't know, informal kind of stream. Sometimes I've been going back between more formal streams and more informal streams. I'm not sure,
Yeah. Who knows?
what's the best, but it's fun to switch it up.
Whatever's more fun.
That's right. But we are live, so we'll do the little formal bit here just to introduce everyone that's on the stream. First, I have Rob Geronimo to this side of me. Hey,
right.
Rob.
How's it going, man? Right? Oh, where's
This
my
is
hand? Yes.
There you go. Yeah, it's all backward. It throws me off. We've streamed together, but I think this is the first time on my channel.
Yes,
if I
the first
remember
time.
correctly.
Absolutely.
So great to have you here. Rob is a fellow Alterna creator, and I think there's some stiff competition, but I think Blood Realm is my favorite Alterna book.
Oh, wow.
So far, I've got to say, I really, really like Blood Realm.
Oh, thank you, man.
It was it's just so different from what I expected.
Right.
And I don't know what I expected, but it was just very different. And you kind of play with the format, the medium a little bit. It's not as much of a straightforward comic. It almost feels like just a tale. I don't know how else to say that, but
that's the exact vibe. That's the exact vibe I'm going for. So I'm glad it came across.
Yeah.
So that's your comic is Blood Realm. I didn't realize that.
Yes.
That looks beautiful. I remember when Peter was showing it off, and yeah, it looks beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Jason. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. And then we have Jason Brubaker. I think we've streamed together a few times, but welcome back to the show. It's always great to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. And hello to everyone in the chat. I know we've got a few people here. Draw and Talk, awesome to see you. He turned in a great fan art piece. That was the hardest thing. We were on live last week deciding who was the winners. We had to pick two winners of the fan art contest, and that was really hard to do because there were some great ones. Cole's here. Hello. K Manifesto, what's up? With a question mark. Hello. Michael Bancroft is here. Hello. Let's see. Hi, Clint. Jason Geronimo. Hello, chat.
Hey,
Awesome.
Canuck.
Everyone's here. Paul's here. All
Greetings.
right. Howdy, friends. All
Hey,
right. Just saying hi to everybody. Cool.
Nice.
We'll let everyone get sort of trickled in tonight. But really, I just want to talk about comics and crowdfunding. And I have tons of questions. I always think, like, Jason, you have all the answers already publicly, like on your blog, and like you share everything, which is something I admire, and I tried to follow, as I've kind of come later to the party, and I try to just share things because it's what you've done.
Yeah.
But even still, it's like it just feels like such an evolving situation.
Yeah.
I'm going to share my screen here while we get there.
It changes so fast. I feel like I'm out of date, and I'm actually trying new things now that I've never tried before. So,
what are some of the big things that you'd see that have changed? Well, first off, how long have you actually been crowdfunding comics?
Since 2010.
Wow.
So 10 years.
10
yeah.
years.
Yeah.
10 years.
So, the first 6 months that Kickstarter started is when I launched my first Remind campaign. It was either 6 or 8 months in, and it was, no one knew what it was at that time. So, yeah, now there's a lot of opinions and there's a lot of information about it out there, and it's just kind of it's so much information that it's hard to distill it and find the right stuff to use, especially for comics. And then there's Indiegogo and Kickstarter, and there's kind of a different world in those two places. And it doesn't fully cross over all the time. So yeah, it's a really strange, changing industry. But I do still think it's the future, for sure.
There's been a lot of discussion about that this week. That I from a lot of people realizing that crowdfunding is changing things, and I think often it's been easier to sort of, it's just this little side indie thing that some people are doing.
Yeah.
But it's enabling people to be able to make comics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, in ways that you haven't had before. And so I don't know. Absolutely, I think you're right that it's here to stay, at least for now.
Especially when other people can't make comics like the traditional way.
Right.
There's so many of those things folding up now. So it's an interesting time.
Yeah, we gotta say hello to Charlie. Glad to see you again, Charlie. And if you guys
Charlie.
didn't know, Charlie's the artist on Fatal. He's the artist that everyone is
Awesome.
just
yeah.
shocked over.
Great
Yeah.
work.
So it's great.
Fantastic
I
work.
love it.
Yeah.
Howdy, fellas. How's everybody tonight?
Great.
We're good.
Good. Well, so I've noticed over the weekend too. Fatal has our campaign currently. Fatal has been picking up on backers, and so I went and looked on the page, and we're up at the top of the trending list again. So
Wow.
That's great.
that's really helpful.
Right.
It's amazing.
I was kind of like, I'm not sure why all of a sudden the uptick in backers, kind of in the middle grindy phase, but
Hmm.
this is
Are we
really
trending
nice.
with the boys?
No, right? Look at that.
Yeah, we're trending just one above the boys.
The TV show.
Virgin cover limited edition. Wow. Yeah,
That's-
and this is
It's a
again.
huge
So
property. Right?
let me see.
Yeah.
This is Dynamite, is it not?
I believe so.
Does the boys? It is Dynamite. Yeah. Yeah. See, and that's
how is
again.
such a huge property? Is we're up there with a huge property. All right, awesome Camel Moon, man. I love being up there with Camel Moon.
Yeah. Yeah, and that I don't know. It's almost like crowdfunding is sort of the great equalizer. It doesn't matter. You can be an
Exactly.
indie guy and climb in there. But we also have Phobos here. This is Jason Brubaker's book.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
You launched this just last week, right?
Yeah, on Monday. Yeah.
Great.
Last Monday.
Last Monday, sweet.
Beautiful.
21. And you've got it because you have really you've been doing this for 10 years. You sort of initially built your audience on Kickstarter.
Hmm.
And so you have
Yeah.
campaigns in both places, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of jump back and forth. Like I just did a cognitive drawing campaign, so many months ago, and I did that all on Kickstarter mainly. And I think it's a better choice for it over there. So, certain campaigns have different places I think that they belong better,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But
and
I am going to do Phobos next month in October over on Kickstarter. So that's something I'm going to try differently. Run it for this month on Indiegogo, then next month on Kickstarter, and I'll be doing some additional things at that time because it's kind of a horror-themed spoof of horror stuff, and so it'd be good on October to still be pushing it.
And
Yeah.
do you feel that there's different audiences, or there's just people who specifically use Kickstarter and people who specifically use Indiegogo?
Yeah, I've polled my audience to just see if there's going to be anybody who doesn't, back me if I'm on one or the other. And there's people in both camps. Some people are like, I'll never back anything on Indiegogo, and some are not on Kickstarter. So, and it seemed like it was about 8% of my audience. So,
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's huge, and there's a lot of people that are just like, I'll go wherever you go. So it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, that's nice. Like ultimately, I think most people that back your books, you're the one mobilizing them and sending them there to the platform. So, but people do get used to a platform
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
They're more comfortable with it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's again how things are sort of evolving. Because I think 10 years ago, I don't even know if Indiegogo was probably around, but I didn't.
I think
know
it was
existed.
before Kickstarter, but
Yeah.
it just always seemed so junky at the time.
Yeah. I remember at the time everyone was like, "Isn't that a scam?" The scam.
Yeah, exactly. That was the vibe, right?
Yeah.
And I still hear people say that every now and then, and I'm like, "No, man, it's legit. Like it's a good
Yeah.
platform. I like it quite a bit."
Especially for comics, all of a sudden. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there one that you prefer, Jason?
I think I would prefer Indiegogo because of the tools that you have there. Like, there's so many more things you can do with it. But I do like the feel of Kickstarter better. So there's pros and cons with both. But Kickstarter's back end is so junky once your campaign is over. It's just a horrible situation to try to use it to fulfill your books. You have to use something like BackerKit or something to really organize it and get stuff. For me, anyway, especially if you have more than like 100 backers and it's complicated orders.
Right.
But there's things about both that I like, but I do really like how you can have like add-ons built right into it. Like, for instance, with Phobos, I'm not showing any of my other books in my tiers. It's just all add-ons now, and I've never been able to do that before. It's always been really filled with all kinds of stuff and tons of tiers that are different to fit everyone's wants. But now I can just have the basic product, and then anything people want to add on to it, they can add on it however they want. So that's really neat. I love it.
That's really interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and the in-demand phase is one thing that, like, for example, here we're beating, let's see, 874 backers. Fatal has 868 backers now. Okay, so yeah, we did officially, or 74. Sorry, I've got no. See, the problem is, Charlie, people have been backing Downcast more because of in demand. So it's like we beat the backer total, and then it keeps going up higher. So now we've got over 40,000, which is fantastic.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So now we have. This is gonna keep being we're like racing horses here now. 874. So we're really close. Really close to beating it, and the one's been in demand for months. So but that's really cool that you can still sell stuff. And I've looked at Amazon or like even considered opening an eBay store or something like that to continue selling books, but I kind of like the idea of in demand stores because then people are just used to going to Indiegogo to get your stuff.
Yeah.
Now, how long does that last? Is there a timeline for on demand or in demand rather?
There is. It has to do with how much money you make in a 6 weeks period of time. So I think you have to make like $300 or something. I could have the number wrong. I have to look it up. You have to make a certain amount of money within this 6 week period of time in order for them to continue it. If you don't make that much, then they'll shut it down for you. But it's not a high number to reach, so you can be in demand for quite a long time.
Wow.
So
that's really cool. Yeah,
but I don't know. It's nice. I kind of liked that aspect quite a bit about it. Then people are just used to going there.
Last time I used Kickstarter was like 2012, 2013. So I'm sure. Is it very different from then, Jason?
No, it's so similar. That's their problem. They just never change anything. It works.
Amazing.
Yeah. It'll be the same in another 20 years. No, they sent out a survey like, what do you want to implement into Kickstarter? And it's all the things that Indiegogo is doing. And I'm like, yes, please, come on, hurry up. Yes. Yeah. Catch up.
The one that killed me was I went there once to see, I think it was like Blake Northcott's book she had up there on Kickstarter, and I wanted to go look at it, and they said it's still available through an in-demand store. And then you click on it. This is on Kickstarter. You click on it, and it forwards you to Indiegogo, so you can back it there at their in-demand store.
I do that with my stuff on Kickstarter now. Yeah.
That's funny.
Which is great, that you can do that as a creator. But I was just thinking, how difficult would it be if you've already got the crowdfunding platform to just add the feature that campaign continues to exist?
Yeah. There's so many things that they could do to make more money by helping the creators, and they just, I don't know, they're just kind of stuck in their ways. I knew, let's see, the owner of Comixology, I've talked with him several times, and I think it was him, and he went over and met with them at Kickstarter. This was years ago. And he's like, why don't you do this, and why don't you do that? And they're all just sitting out on these big comfy couches with scooters rolling around the studio, and they're like, nah, whatever. And he's just like, I don't get these guys. They don't ever think about moving forward. They're just like, whatever, we'll just relax and do it this way. So anyway, I thought that was funny.
Complacency, it sounds like.
Yeah, the competition, I guess, hasn't kicked in quite yet. I don't know. Right. So Phobos, now we've got some people in the chat. I'm going to copy the link to this. I tried to back this and it didn't let me, and I called my credit card company. It's not your fault. It's me.
Okay, good.
I called the credit card company and they were like, "Are you this Indiegogo thing? They did a fraud alert, and they're like, you've been spending a lot of money on Indiegogo." Like they've been paying me money too. If you see, like
there's a relationship here.
Yeah, this is part of the business.
Right.
for the.
I mean, it has
business
go-go in the
account.
title. It just sounds like go-go dancers or something. It's like, what are you spending money on? This has to
they
be
were
seedy.
looking into it. So I'm gonna back it tonight, and I won't share my screen, so and nobody sees my. No, I don't dox myself, but so Phobos is here. This looks really cool. Jason, why don't you tell us a little bit about the book?
Yeah, so this is something I created in junior high and high school. I created it as a here I have like kind of an old version of it here, and you know, it's something that when I was really trying to get into comics, I was inspired by Todd McFarlane and all that stuff. And I made this book and inspired by Munsters and Addams Family and all that stuff. And I had this big vision for it. I got it published nationwide back in the day when they were super popular in the 90s. And then they canceled it after the first issue, like everyone did. And then I started my career. I worked in the Hollywood industry and worked in storyboards and all that stuff. So I just kind of put it on the side, or just said, "Oh well, it's done." And then after years and years and years, and I started getting back into comics, and I made Remind and I made Sithra. I started kind of dabbling with it again. I contacted the guy who published it, and I said, "Hey, can I get the rights back?" And he's like, "Sure, I don't care." And so then I started just working on it at night, and this is while I was working at DreamWorks, because I worked on the Kung Fu Panda movies at DreamWorks too. Started working on it, just really started refining the new style of it, which is this kind of film grain style, and rewrote it about 5 times, it seems like, and then I was just like, you know what? It's a comedy. It's like super just silly and fun. It's so easy for me to get into it, but I just don't know if anyone cares, because this is something I made in high school, you know. And so I started kind of just sharing it with my patrons and kind of obsessing over me finishing Phobos than anything else. And it's just kind of kept me going with it. And now you can see I have 300 pages done. And I'm like, well, okay, well, now it's time to actually put it out in the world, like for real, you know, not just behind a patron wall. Right. And see what people really think of it. And because I would love to keep going, you know, I have another probably 1,000 pages I could draw on it with the stories that I've written. And yeah, just so the story, it's basically a once all-powerful vampire who 700 years ago was knocked unconscious in his toxic moat and stuck in mid-transformation between a bat and a man. And so when he's dragged out of the moat 700 years ago by this Frankenstein-like character, and this girl who has mysteries of her own, he's stuck in mid-transformation, doesn't really remember a whole lot, is really weak and pathetic. And so these kind of weird people in this castle are helping him back to health, and unaware that he was the most all-powerful vampire evil creature ever existed. And so, but they're helping him, and eventually the story will be, you know, once he gets that power back, is he going to choose his friends or that power? Is kind of the long format story. And yeah, this is just the first 300 pages. Very cool. But it's really fun. I keep falling in love with the characters more and more, and it gets really crazy and silly and kind of goes all over the place. But
that's great.
I love the look of it, because it's totally you know, the black, like it needs to be black and white. That makes sense why you did that. Yeah. It's very old monster movie-esque.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I love this image right here. That's really cool.
Oh, thanks.
Love it.
Yeah, once I figured out the look of it, because the original version was you know, just like trying to be a Todd McFarlane comic, not near as good though. And once I figured out this new look, it's just everything kind of clicked, and I just felt like I could really work on this for a long time. So yeah, I look at it like it's the thing I will keep working on for the rest of my life if people let me. Right. You know, I'll definitely want to jump into other projects between books, I think, but I want to always keep coming back to this. So. And it's very niche, you know, it's black and white, and you know, people love my color work. So that was a big risk, like just doing black and white all of a sudden when most of my compliments are on my coloring. So, yeah, it's been interesting to see people's response.
Wow. Yeah, I like it. This is something I think I saw PG, right? My kids loved reading Sithra. I started reading it with them, and then they're just like, "Come here," because I didn't have enough time to sit down and read the other later books. So they just read them by themselves, and
Yeah, cool.
they loved it. So
That's awesome.
very cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really other than kind of scarier themes, and it's about monsters, and that's kind of the only reason I put it at that age, like a PG type rating. There's never going to be heads cut off and blood shooting out. So it would be done in a comedy way.
right.
However you do that. I mean, there are like the main the Frankenstein character. Whenever he gets electrocuted, he sprouts arms, and so they're always falling off. So I had a version where there were bloody arms, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to go there.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're just kind of like a hard edge.
Yeah.
Like you'd see on Cartoon Network.
No splatter.
Cool.
Yeah.
Really like this. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on this too. We'll check on this a little bit later in the stream. But Phobos, check it out. It's on Indiegogo right now, and you're really close to the $25,000 goal. And I'm gonna back it. I tried 4 times last week. I'm gonna do it today. The other thing I want to pull up here. This is Wirehead. What a name too.
Wow.
This is. I'm gonna guess here. I'm gonna go out on a limb. This sounds like a horror, but probably not PG. I'm guessing.
You're right, Clint. Yeah, I can't. You're on the money there.
just guessing, but
I tried to come up with something clever. I couldn't.
Your art is so interesting to look at to me, and that's one of the things I love about Blood Realm. It's just it's so interesting. But so this is not a campaign that's live right now, but you can sign up for the mailing list. This is exactly the way that crowdfunding works at its best, is when you have people excited to back it before the campaign ever exists. So I'm going to post this link as well. But Rob, what can you tell us about Wirehead?
Absolutely, yeah. It's an homage to classic slasher films. I'm a big fan of that stuff. Like Black Christmas, Jason, Friday the 13th, all that good stuff. I love it. Halloween. So I've wanted to create a story. I had this character in the back of my head for a long time, and I'm so busy doing Blood Realm. So I actually have a former student of mine who's doing the interior work. So I think he's ready for prime time. I think it's time for him to show what he's got. Great sequentials he's been doing, and we're actually gonna do the book in black and white to give it that horror feel. So what you're seeing with the color is just pieces from the main cover there. But
cool.
But yeah, it's a cybernetic creature that terrorizes these unsuspecting teens in the Pocono Mountains. you know how it goes.
Awesome.
We've seen this setup before. There's a reason why. There's a reason why too. It's effective.
Exactly.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. So you're not the artist, you're the writer on this.
Right. That is my art up top though. Yeah. So
okay, I was gonna say this looks like
that. Yeah. So I'm doing like an old school print, kind of like an homage to like the old 70s pinups and classic movie posters. So I'm doing that as one of the perks rather, like a retro print and stuff like that.
It's cool. In your art, is it always going to be that you'll do black, white, red, or if you ever like black, white, green?
It's too Christmassy.
just throw in a different. No, I love it, especially in Blood Realm, the way that it works and it puts emphasis on certain things. I think it's really cool. But yeah, that's one thing though. It's kind of like a trademark. When I see this, if I didn't already know from the style, but it's just like the red there. The red, highlights are great. So,
oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm having a blast with this book, and I would draw it. I'm just so busy with Blood Realm because now Pete, motivated me to do 6 volumes. Damn it! So, and the people want it. The readers are great. So, hey, why not?
Yeah. That honestly, that's my dream, is to do something that just, big, epic, long story. Mm-hmm. That's really cool. That's always appealed to me. So
But the hard thing though is just finally giving it a finite number, because then I'm like, oh, maybe I could do one more volume, and then you're just like, oh god, I'm gonna be 80 when this is done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is kind of nice though, like planning for the end, because then you can build toward that end.
Exactly, yeah, because I have a definitive end for Blood Realm, and I know exactly how it's going to end, and when it ends, it's going to end. So I see Peter already in the chat. Don't blame me just for that. You're doing another 6 volumes, Geronimo. The boss has spoken.
Punishment.
How many pages is a volume?
So it's 24 times 3. So what is that? That's 70.
Okay.
What is
Almost
that? I can't
75.
do math. I'm so bad. Yeah, 3 issues in a volume.
72. Yeah.
Yeah, 72. So right now
Cool.
we have
Wow.
3 issues completed, but I mean that's nothing for you. You said that first book is 300 pages.
Yeah. Well, Cithra was 1,000. That was my ridiculous achievement right there.
How long did that take you?
I started in 2014 and then finished in 2018. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, well, there you go.
It's 4 years of that's
Yeah.
that's pretty good though, really,
It was-
for 1,000 pages.
Yeah. The first one took a year and it was the shortest. And then after that, I started doing it full time. So then I was putting it on Webtoons and I was just cranking the pages out. I was doing about a volume every 5 months ish, and then I'd take breaks and have to catch up and get my buffer up again. Yeah, it was crazy. I don't want to do that again. I don't mind the volume length. I just don't want to do it in that speed. It really wore me out.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
And I knew if I drew this, alongside Blood Realm, I would definitely be burnt out.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh,
but-
it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I posted the link for Wirehead just for everyone in the chat. Check it out. Sign up for the mailing list. Is this an Alterna project link, or is that not decided yet? Or
I don't know if I should say yet. Peter's in the chat. But,
okay, I'm always nervous because people ask me about publication questions too, and I'm like, I don't know if I
don't know if I'm allowed to.
Okay, well, Wirehead is there. It's available. This is early on, so I posted the link, and we'll look back at that again as well.
Awesome.
So Jason, I do want to add. Let me stop sharing here for a minute. I want to pick your brain a little bit. Okay, so the one aspect of it is crowdfunding and making sure that you have got your stuff together when it comes to crowdfunding.
Mhm.
I feel like I'm getting there. I'm still learning, but I feel like I understand how it works. At least I know what I need to do. It's just a matter of doing it. But the other aspect of it that has interested me is you made this full time. You made the jump to be full time, and I've heard you say before, like some of this is just making sure that you're lean, basically, and making your life work. For comics.
Yeah.
Could you give me some tips on that? I don't think I'm near that point yet, but I want to eventually. I want to get to the point where I'm just doing comics full time.
Please.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, I've been doing it full time for 5 years, and I got into this really nice studio. If you saw it, you'd think I'm making bank. It's just I live in Idaho, and it's really cheap here. So it's just a fraction more expensive than my last studio. But it's I was in LA when I started working on it, and the amount of money I had to make per month in LA to support everything that I needed to do was just a ridiculous amount, and so there's no way I could have done this in a place like that. I would have had to rely on the freelance jobs and working at DreamWorks full time to be able to take care of the bills and then have this be something I did at night, which I did for a long time. And at one point I was content with that whole idea. Like, if that's just what I got to do, then that's what I got to do, I guess, but once I realized I wanted to get out of LA and stop working in Hollywood, then the kind of fire was under my butt to like, okay, how do I organize my life to actually be able to do to not work in LA, because that's where the bank is, And I was still thinking of freelance work and stuff, but I was just thinking of internet freelance. And so the obvious thing for me was just moving back home to Idaho, which is where my parents are, free babysitting. We could sell our house in LA. You buy a house outright here that's better. So all those things really worked out in our favor, and the timing was right. And schooling is way cheaper. Not to mention, I don't even mind them going to public school here compared to where we were in LA. So so we got our bills down considerably cheaper. And right at that time is when Webtoons was negotiating the price with me, and they paid me a little bit extra from what they paid their standard contracts, because they didn't want to offend me, they said, because I worked at DreamWorks and stuff. And that was the exact amount I needed to pay the bills that I had planned on having. And so it paid my bills exactly for 2.5 years, but the thing is, I didn't have any extra money. I didn't have any wiggle room. So the months that I would take time off of Webtoons, I wouldn't get paid from them. So I had to make money other ways, and whether it's on Patreon or just launching a campaign and putting money aside to be able to live on for those 3 or 4 or 6 months, while I was taking a break to try to catch up with my buffer. So I was never really taking a break, but I wasn't getting paid, and we all know how that goes. Oh, yeah. So it really burnt me out, though. And then so the next year I kind of took any job that anyone gave me. And so I was given this teaching job for CGMA, spent a lot of time on that, but it wasn't really worth the time investment that I put into it. And then I started working on Phobos for Patreon, trying to grow the Patreon at that time. And I've always had kind of back and forth opinions about Patreon. It's been a love-hate relationship, and right now I'm kind of I don't know. I've gone back and forth so much that now I'm just kind of whatever.
Why is that?
If it works, cool. If it doesn't, then cool.
What about Patreon do you feel is iffy?
It just never because I jumped on the week it started. I had it set up for how-to content, and then I pulled out, and then I relaunched it again for when I launched Cithra in 2014, in January, as a webcomic. And the thing about it was just from the get-go, they just never would fix certain things like their search feature, and I had video calls with them early on because I was one of the first guys, and giving them advice of what I want. And they're like, "Yeah, we're definitely going to do that," and then it would just never happen, and they would focus on these other things, and then everything they would implement would be buggy and crash everything, and I would have to redo things, and then I'm like, when's the search going to be done, and it's built so that every artist has to support Patreon versus Patreon supporting the artists. You know what I'm saying? Everyone has to share their Patreon links nonstop to make Patreon work, and that's only good for Patreon. Whereas YouTube and the platform they hate, and they're saying artists don't get taken care of that. Well, they do. YouTube actually helps build your audience, and that's something that I really wish Patreon would have done from the get-go. And just the simple thing like search features can make that work, at least help in some ways. So anyway, there's a whole laundry list of things, that in different, dumb little stories, but it just never really it just feels like it's patrons' interest is Patreon more than anything, even though they say the opposite. And I've gone to a lot of the first 2 or 3 PatreCon things, and I was treated like a rock star because it was an exclusive little thing and a small group of people, and they put a lot of money into it. But and I was really grateful for that. But then it just feels like. Also, it kind of feels like you're walking on eggshells because, who knows what's going to happen with Patreon. I hear they're being sued and there's all kinds of stuff. So, how much time do I want to invest in building this thing and promoting patron, because they are kind of rubbing people the wrong way. So they haven't necessarily done anything personally against me, but so anyway, I don't know if that I need to go into it any more than that.
One difficult thing with Patreon, I guess it was not last November, the November before, 2018, whatever year that was. There was this big controversy with Patreon taking people off of Patreon. Bad
Really?
people, or you know what I mean. So
And in their opinions, they're bad people, and some of them. I don't care, who these.
Right.
They're not like child murderers or whatever, so they're not that kind of bad. But people, it's politically different opinions, and I don't think that's cool because when people confronted Jack, the owner, he's like, "Well, we're just against hate, and if you love hate, then get off our platform." It's like you're categorizing something so broadly, like stop it, like you're supposed to be you came up out of nowhere as the platform that's going to allow artists have their opinion, but now you don't want to let them have their opinion anymore. And so there are going to be people that agree with you and don't, and so you just have to deal with that, So anyway, that's a big part. And
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. That was right around the same time that I was like looking into some kind of Patreon or like some way to monetize all the time I was spending on YouTube, and YouTube wouldn't monetize me for some reason for a very long time. After like I had met their criteria, even it was like 6 months later. But that was difficult because then it's like you had to be a salesman for Patreon and get people past the. Like, I don't really like what Patreon's doing. Okay, I understand, but back my Patreon,
But I have to push them all the time.
Right. So it got weird. I started a Subscribe Star, but I haven't focused on it that much.
It's just not as popular. People don't know about it, and so there's just not going to be that pool of people there. And then Patreon also has upped their prices. So now I'm asking people to support me and give 8% to Patreon, even though I'm not really sure I want to support Patreon that much. So, it's just like all these things, it just keeps adding. It just keeps adding and adding. And so, I get about $1,000 a month from Patreon. So that's substantial money, and so I can't really knock it, and I can't just jump ship because I need that money to keep the lights on here. So, because the Patreon money goes exclusively to the business and the studio, I have to make money over that to take home, to pay the bills at home and stuff. So anyway, it's important for me to have it. And if I could raise the other funds other places, then I could definitely see myself just kind of letting Patreon dwindle away. But as of now, I need to keep giving to it.
Interesting.
Absolutely. Well, so that kind of brings up like diversifying where you're getting money from. And right now, like I used to think, YouTube money will help, sort of help, you know what I mean? Like pay some. It really doesn't. And then all of a sudden something will change, making the same amount of video content or more in some cases. And then it's like I get no ad revenue. So it'll drop like a fifth of what it used to be. So I don't know. I'm like, no one should count on YouTube money. It's just not a good idea.
It's weird. For the last 5 years, my subscribers have been growing about by 400 a month on YouTube. And even though it grows, I get the same amount of money. It's like the ads pay less and less and less every year that I grow that audience bigger and bigger. So, I really do have different strategies that I'm going to try to implement with YouTube going forward. And I haven't really started them. You might have noticed if you've followed me on YouTube, it's like I've just disappeared kind of for the last 2 months until I launched my campaign, because I think I'm going to just do something completely different with YouTube. So, but I guess I shouldn't say it unless I know for sure how I'm going to do it. So
I do the same thing though. I'm thinking out loud here, and make big decisions, publishing decisions and things like that sort of out loud. It's kind of nice though, because then you getting feedback from comments and stuff. I actually quite like that. I try to read all my comments. It's helpful.
Ever since I've moved into this space, I really want to like maximize what I can get from this space, because it has a real high production value here. And so, yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, I want to make higher quality content that's shorter and less often made, and really focus on YouTube as marketing, because that's why I joined YouTube, was to market my stuff, Mm-hmm. And so, out of the last 5 years, I've been doing YouTube crazy, like every other day, a YouTube video practically, and sometimes every day. And it seems like for 5 years, no matter what I did, whatever strategies I tried, the subscribers were just consistently growing, but not at a very high rate. Nothing made the subscribers jump up real fast. And so I've backed away after these last 5 years, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to make 1,000 videos that get 1,000 views. That's not my goal, to get 1 million views by doing 1,000 videos that get 1,000 views. I want to make one really good video that gets a lot of views. And so that's kind of the way I want to approach it now going forward.
Right.
But I go back and forth.
Something I've noticed too with YouTube is I had high hopes sort of early on when I saw, hey, I'm growing my channel. Like, this is going to be doable. And then I thought, let's see, by this time I should have 100,000 subscribers. And, I'm going to, I planned this out. That's not at all how it worked out. So, but the nice thing is, even with a a very small YouTube channel, I've got a little over 5,000 subscribers. You still are in contact with people that are interested in what you're doing. People can look you up. They know where to find you. They know what the latest is. And having that platform to just be able to speak from whenever you need it, whenever you want, is huge. And that I have not found the same success anywhere else. Twitter, I'm still not even, it's great for networking with people, but I'm still not sure how to really use it as a sales tool. It's a tough one. But let's look at the campaigns here. I know I saw a question for Jason. I don't want to lose this. Somebody asked if you were going to do, it was a while ago. Dang it. Okay, wait, this might be it. Will all the Sith Rule books be available in a physical format anytime soon? I only see the first 3 on Amazon.
All the first 5 are available on Amazon. They should be. And then the 6th one, the actual publication date is February of next year, even though I have it already printed. I've already sent it out to the Kickstarter backers as a really super early book. And if you email me, I'll sell you everything directly if you want. So hit me up. I'll sell them right to you. Also, you can add them all to your order in the Phobos campaign. So, and they're at a discounted price, a lot of them.
Oh, great. So they're the add-ons through Indiegogo?
They're the add-ons, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So you got to go, like, you're going to check out first, like go to buy it, and then it'll have the prompt for the add-ons. Yeah.
Pick a tier in the Phobos campaign, and they'll say, do you want to add this to your order, or this? And there's a whole list of books that I've printed. There's even a paperback of this book called Shapes, which hasn't come out yet. It's a book I wrote and drew for Cave Pictures Publishing. And so that's available, and I'm kind of the only one who's selling it. So yeah, exclusive things.
Absolutely. Here's one comment, and then we'll look at the campaigns again. Twitter is good for reminding people to back people's projects. That could be the case for sure. What I have a problem with is tracking that. That's where I have a difficult time. So I'm sure there are people that have figured out Twitter pretty well and are effective with it. So let's go to campaigns. Somebody said that they just backed Fatal, so thank you. I'm going to find the comment somewhere, but I'm going to refresh the campaign here. There we go. Whoa. Okay, we're 1 backer shy, I think, from Downcast. So we got 875 backers on Fatal. 874. So we did it again, Charlie.
All right.
We beat Downcast. That's great. By 1 backer support. 875. It's been great. It's climbing, and I think so. Our next stretch goal is $50,000, which I want to try to hit that quick. But once we get that, we're going to have a fold-out poster. I've had some comments on the campaign and some feedback, and people said for stretch goals they want more stuff added to the book themselves, the books themselves. And so I think that's a good idea. We can put some upgrades on the books so everyone's, they just get better quality books. We can kind of go that direction. For the next stretch goal, once we hit 50K, I'll announce the next one. So thanks everybody for backing, and it's still live on Indiegogo. We're getting into 10 days left. I'll post this in the link in the chat. In full disclosure, we're going to try and we'll extend the campaign. This is just advice that I've gotten from other people of doing a campaign and then extending it. And I guess it has Indiegogo help you promote it more or something like that. So we're going to try it out and we'll see how it goes. So full disclosure, we will extend the campaign. But if you're going to back it anyway, tonight's a great time to do it. So post the link. And next we'll look at Phobos here. I'm going to refresh this because I think there you go. Two more backers. Wow. Nice.
Thank you guys. So my one of my stretch goals is a glow in the dark cover.
Oh, nice.
So I'm excited about that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's perfect for that.
You found the thing is now I'm like, which printer? Where did you go to?
Yeah.
It was my printer my printer actually suggested that.
Yeah. Oh,
wow. It's API Jostens is the printer. They're in America.
Okay. Yeah. So
I've used API. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Good.
Yeah.
I guess they usually do yearbooks and stuff like that. So they do the really high quality, nice quality books. So, and they did Doug TeNaples' book, I know. So his last couple books. So he's the one who kind of turned me on to him.
Yeah. Yeah. They did. I've got both Downcast books. They printed them, and I think they did a really good job. I upgraded the paper to like 100-pound. Like it's really thick paper. Wow. I think almost probably too thick. I'd probably take it down to like 80-pound or something. But it makes it. The book looks nice. It's hefty.
Yeah.
So Phobos is. I'm putting the link here. Great books. Jason Brubaker's a proven, professional at crowdfunding comics. He's the first one really that I had known of that did it. I used to read your blog like on everything. It would be how to color, just as I was sort of learning about making comics and making some really terrible art myself. And so, it's just kind of, to me, it's really cool to see that you've had a sustained, long career for, relatively speaking, on crowdfunding comics.
Yeah. Hopefully I can keep doing it. Yeah. Every campaign's always kind of it's a question like, is it going to win, every single time? Usually you don't have those odds. And so it makes me a little nervous. The more I do them, like everyone can't be a huge winner, but so far they've all worked really well. So, I'll keep taking it.
How often do you do them a year? How many do you run a year?
Well, this is my second one this year. So I did Cognitive Drawing, which raised about $45,000 on Kickstarter earlier, and that one we've just been fulfilling all the books recently. And then this is my newest one. And I think I'll be pushing for about 2 a year now. Probably a graphic novel and then something else, like either another Cognitive Drawing or a children's book or something secondary,
Nice.
Just to kind of keep it interesting.
That's inspiring, man. That's definitely something I'm working toward for sure.
Because you kind of have two different sides to your audience when I think about it, because you've got a big chunk of your audience that's interested in how to make comics and the how that you're sharing, and so I think it's really great for that. At the same time, you've got people that are just interested in reading your books, and then you've got people like me who are interested in both. Probably a big swath of people like that. That is cool. That it's sort of an aspect of what you do that you can monetize. You've already given out the information, but packaging it up, people are interested in supporting that.
I think if I was a really smart, wise businessman, I would have kept the same kind of content going that I did on when you were reading Remind blog, and just kept being the how-to guy, and then just kept doing Remind, volume 3 and 4, because that was really going really well. The second volume made $7,000, and that was like when no one made $100,000 on a graphic novel. So, but every book I do, I kind of reinvent myself, and so it keeps it fresh for me. But then I always reset my audience. Like Phobos, it's weird. It's interesting because I usually have a consistent group of backers that would buy all my Sither books, and it's like this is a different audience because it's a really different kind of a book,
Right.
So, and it's interesting. And cognitive drawing is a completely different audience than even my how-to content, like from my blog, because my blog was real specific about making comics and self-publishing, and then cognitive drawing is basically for homeschoolers and educators and kids that want to learn how to draw muscly men. So it's really bizarre. It keeps it fresh for me and exciting for me, but I'm always resetting, and so but I don't think I would be happy just doing the same content for very long. So even though I know I'd make a lot more money, is what I'm saying.
I hear that. It gets hard. Even just with YouTube, I think I want to make videos. I'll try new things, and then the views just totally stop. So I'm like, okay, people want comics industry news, and sometimes I look at it, I'm just like, I haven't talked about this. Like, I don't, It depends on the day, I guess.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's one thing I haven't. I've done maybe a couple videos on kind of relevant news topics in the comic world, and it was too emotional for me because everyone jumps in with their opinions, and I'm like, I need to just focus on the comics.
Yeah.
So,
It gets hard sometimes. I don't know that for someone like me, that's kind of how I started anyway. I don't think that controversial, but I guess maybe a little. I don't know. Depends on who you ask, but just like picking a perspective, and this is my opinion on the industry. Right now the industry, and this is my opinion on Diamond, and this is that kind of stuff. So it's kind of nice. I get it off my chest, but sometimes it's like let's talk about how to write comics, and people are like, nope. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to start a second YouTube channel or something.
One enough. Oh my god, I can't even imagine running two.
That would be a pain in the butt. I won't. So Wirehead here, Rob. I want to pick your brain a little bit too.
Sure.
So I heard you say this is one of your students. So do you teach, or you used to teach?
I still teach. Yeah,
Okay.
I teach art history and illustration
Very
at
cool.
2 universities.
What's so someone going in, they're going to college to learn and do art.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you get a lot of people in there that are like, I'm going to make money being an artist. You know what I mean? And that's sort of the feeling. How do you just like foster that, like go for it, or like how do you talk about that kind of stuff?
Well, I'll be honest with you. The problem is with a lot of these programs is that they don't properly educate students on how to make money with their art.
Yeah.
It's just, oh no, it's you just make paintings and what, comic books? No. Well, that's not going to be part of your final thesis. No, we can't allow that. It's so ridiculous. Like the idea of illustration. Right here, was that you laughing, Jason? Because you understand.
That was me.
Oh, that was Charlie. Yeah.
I'm just,
It's absolutely insane. And you have these people who are tenured there, who are completely out of touch with how this industry works. And when I say industry, I don't just mean comic books. I also mean illustration, the art world. They think it's just this little tiny thing. And some of them are just hobbyists, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
They're talented, but they're hobbyists. And they don't really understand how to teach these kids on how to make a living in art.
Yeah.
And these kids, when they leave, they suffer. And then they're in debt, and they don't know what to do. So it's incredibly frustrating. So what I do, I say, listen, how badly do you want this? Because this is what it's going to take in this type of world we're in terms of art. You got to market yourself. You got to get on YouTube. It's a new age now. You have to get on Instagram. You have to promote. There's this weird mentality where, they think that, oh, well, they'll come to us. I'm like, no, That's not how it works. So I try to educate these kids on, get a website as something as basic as that. You wouldn't even believe it. I mean, it's just getting a website with a little shop on it. So I have them do that sometimes. So we use Big Cartel because they have a free one, like for 5 items, so they could practice doing that. Sometimes I teach them how to make a press release because none of them are taught this, and I think that's the biggest problem, is that we're not properly teaching these kids on how to make money and be a business, how they are an enterprise themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jason understands.
Well, I spoke with the dean of the university here, and she was all excited to have me come in when I moved back into town. I was like, I don't have a degree in anything, but I can teach your kids anything to do with animation, storyboarding, graphic novels, whatever it is, and I'm willing to help. And she got super excited. She's like, well, it's fine now. You got the experience. You got the work experience. I'm like, great. She understands. How is this possible? But she gets it. So she put me in a meeting with the chair of the art department. And she just shut me down. She's like, well, you don't have a degree, so you can't obviously teach, and you don't know what you're talking about. And the thing she said is, there's a classic argument of, are we teaching people so they can go out and get a job, or so they can learn to be a better artist? And we all know it's so they could be a better artist. And I was just kind of like, all right, well, I'm done here, because what's the point of being a better artist if you can't actually use that skill to make a living? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're paying at this place, you're paying $20,000 a year or whatever to be a better artist, just so you can't make money.
It's the perfect way
what's the point? You know?
They'll be the best. They'll have the best protest sign.
Exactly. Yeah. You'll have so much free time.
Yeah.
You'll have so much debt.
You have so much debt, and that you'll be paying that away, and actually you won't, because you won't have a job, and that's what's really hard. And what I couldn't stand, and I had to put a stop to this, because I was like, they were like, so this particular student of mine, this former student, quite a few years ago, Michael O'Shea, the program were like, this is not art. These are hobbyist people who, they're not in galleries right now, and all this stuff. They told that the comic book art that he was doing is not art, and they frowned upon it constantly. When he put it up on his thesis show, they barely acknowledged it, and they said he won't make it, doing this type of work. They want him to be some abstract painter. Like, what the heck? Like, give me a break. So he contacted me after he graduated, and he was like, I follow your work, and he lives in the area where I live, and he said, I would love to keep going and have some private tutoring, because this is what I want. And the department failed me, basically. So I just worked with him real hard for years, just meeting in the local mall, drawing from life, drawing people moving, just getting comfortable doing that stuff that, honest to God, he should have been taught, in the classes he was in. I could not believe their mentality and their way of thinking. It was unbelievable. Just the very idea of a sketchbook, like you should be drawing in that thing every day. And
they didn't have him doing a sketchbook.
Oh, it's terrible. When I tell you, where
do you teach in New York?
So
he's gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
You don't have to say. I'm just saying. I could tell from the way you speak.
Yes. I could tell you privately where I teach, but
yeah, that'd be a better route to go.
Yeah, don't send your kids there.
I also
I went to FIT.
Oh, so did I. Oh my God.
Wait, what?
I went for a master's because I had a terrible art education in my bachelor's, so I needed to make up for it.
FIT was great. Everything was geared towards getting work.
Exactly. That was
all we did.
100%. That was a huge eye opener for me, because everything was about marketing yourself. And you know what we even had a class on? Contracts. Oh my God, contracts.
That's great.
That's
fantastic.
I could not.
Yeah. It was fantastic. And there's actually a guide. What was the book? I don't know if you know, Charlie. There was that book that they said was the Illustrations contract guide. You could even order it on Amazon. I forgot. There's like a new edition.
I can't remember.
It's been a while. Yeah.
I was there. I graduated in 2002.
Oh, 2002. Okay, yeah, I went after that for sure. Yeah. So, wow.
But I mean, I even had a teacher.
That is so fun.
Forget everything. Go into advertising, kid. So that's what I've done for 17 years.
Oh wow, no way.
Yeah. That's all. Yeah, and I want to talk about Downcast, or sorry, not Downcast. Fatal. I want to talk about Fatal again and Charlie's artwork, but this is really him moving. The sad part is this is in all this talent has been used in advertising. I guess that's not sad, but it's sad for comic fans.
I've sold a lot of toothpaste. A lot
of dentists are very happy.
I can see that. Is that what you did? You did dental?
Yeah, Colgate and Coca-Cola, and they go hand in hand. Drink your Coca-Cola, then brush your teeth.
That's awesome.
Commercial illustrator. Yeah, commercial illustration, tons of fashion and beauty.
Yeah.
Hot dogs. I've literally sold hot dogs, and
Yeah.
You get tired though of people call you on Monday night and they say we need 50 drawings for Thursday, and then so that's it. You just drop everything, and it's just a 5-alarm fire till you hit the deadline.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
And then. Because the meeting is absolutely Friday morning, and there's nothing we can do about it, Charlie. You got to make all those 50 drawings. We need it Friday morning. If you got to stay up every night, do it. And then Thursday night comes, and they say, we postponed it till Tuesday. Well,
yeah. That stuff gave me a heart attack. They would contact you like newspapers and editorial pieces. All right, we need this in 16 hours. Like, what? It's like,
why?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just run it 2 days later.
It's crazy.
That's so nice looking.
And it's always attached to the idea of, well, the show must go on. The show must go on.
Exactly.
No, everybody. If anything doesn't have to go on, it's the show. The show can wait. These aren't plumbers and doctors. Just postpone it a little bit.
That's right.
Let's do it. I'm always thinking, let's do it right. But here's the other thing. If then it gets postponed a week, all they do is change everything for the next 6 days.
Yeah.
Yep. I relate, man. Wow. This is amazing. Who would have thought I would have been connecting with Charlie like this through FIT? That's awesome.
The experience sounds a little familiar, huh? I've got to say, too, though, I went to college for public relations. Mm-hmm. And they did not teach us how to write a press release, which is like the basic. And I asked a professor about it, and I said, I need to be learning these skills to get a job in public relations. And she said, get an internship.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Why am I here? You're here.
Can you teach me how to get an internship? No.
It's so frustrating. I can only imagine in the arts. It's much worse, I imagine.
After 2 years, I just tried to get a job in comics, and then I just walked in and was talking to people. My parents made me get the VA though. We sent you to a state school, and it was so cheap. This was between 1998 and 2002. FIT was $1,200 a semester, out of state.
That's out of state. Wow.
I was out of state, but that was 20 years ago.
That's like in-state community college. That's low in-state community college now.
That's essentially what it was. My friends from Queens and other parts in New York they're paying $800 a semester.
Oh,
it was almost free.
I know. I know it's hilarious. You go to SVA where it's like triple the amount, but you're getting the same education at FIT.
Camel Moon and I we were both in school at the same time in the same area. He was at SVA and I was at FIT, and he was paying $20,000.
Insane. And now forget it. Oh my God, people walking out of there with insane debt at SVA
and no job in the arts.
Oh, it's terrible. It's rough, man.
I've got to show you guys this artist. This is John Tyler Christopher. I always get his name mixed up because it's literally 3 first names. But I met him at a convention, and I just stood and talked with him for a while, and he was the best. Like, he gave me the best information, and he maybe you're familiar with these covers, comic covers that look like they're
sure
figure cases. This was his idea, and he did a run on them. I think there might be another artist that's doing similar types of covers, but he told me that somebody told him, if you're going to work in comics, just be prepared to be starving. You're going to be hungry. and you just have to dedicate it's this vow of poverty, to work in comics. And he was like, no, I'm going to find the money. I want to do work in comics, and I'm going to find a way to make money doing that.
Absolutely.
And so he's a cover artist. He's not doing interior pages. He did tell me he would if it was the right book. Forget which one. He had one specific book. If they gave him that, he would do it. But he just comes up with creative ideas that sell. And whether you like these or not, they sell. That's why there's so many of them. They sell really well. He was one. I tried to reach out to him. I'd love to interview him about making money in the arts.
Well, I bet you he has a background in packaging design for sure.
He might, he might. He just does great stuff. He was at this convention with not very, just like nobody at his table or anything. He's just hanging out, having a good time, selling $10 prints, and I don't know. It was just cool to talk with him. But this is how he makes most of his money, is just doing these covers, and then he enjoys the rest of his time, I guess, doing other things in comics. But it's not so much of a grind job anyway. But I just think there's some value to having, I guess, the creativity to approach to making money.
Yes, and there's nothing wrong with that. Whereas this industry feels there's something wrong with making money in comics. This is preposterous.
Yeah,
it's such an elitist. I mean, you can even you go to. It's only super rich people or aristocrats that don't worry about making money, right?
Thank you. Thank you.
You can see in Downton. I don't know. I was just watching Downton Abbey with my wife, and the guy shows up in town, and they look down at him because he's a lawyer that goes to work every day, right? So he's so middle class. It's it's only that type of person that looks at it like that. Of course, you have to sell. Make something that sells. Make something that somebody wants.
It's so backwards that I can't even wrap my brain around it. It's insane.
There's also you either make something that sells or something you like, and the chances are you can find something that you really like, and there's a lot of other people out there. We're not so different, we're all humans. You're gonna like something. There's gonna be many other people that think it's pretty cool too.
Absolutely.
So I just don't think that way.
It's true. If there's one thing that I definitely learned, there's a lot of things I learned from FIT, but they told me that there is an audience for everything. So if you think your style, really, if you think your style, no one would like your style, there's someone out there who'll like it. They will, and that's the thing. You just got to get yourself out there and do it.
Yeah.
Well, Phobos.
I mean, look at Phobos. It's 1940s horror comedy. That I created when I was in junior high.
There you go.
So, that I'm doing it because I love it first, and people are telling me they like it, so I keep making it.
Yeah, there you go.
Picked up 2 more backers. So,
awesome.
376 backers.
Thank you, guys.
That's great. I think people like it. I think it looks really cool, and I already know you make good stuff, so I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, so we'll refresh. I'm going to refresh over here too. I didn't check. Should I check ahead of time? I'm already committed now, so we'll just do it. Hey, we got another backer. So
very nice.
Perfect.
Nice.
Thanks everybody for supporting these campaigns. We can't refresh Wirehead. So
no, we cannot.
There's no way to go. I'm sure hundreds of people are just signing up. I will post the link as well. And I'll tell you, this really helps. People ask, how can I support creators? I got this question because we've been going on a lot of streams since we launched the campaign. And people would ask, hey, I've already backed the book. How else can I support you guys and help the campaign? Signing up and letting creators know that you're interested in their stuff ahead of time is a huge help because it helps it helps creators be able to go into a campaign with a certain level of confidence.
Absolutely.
It's very appreciated. It's very, very helpful. So especially if like with Rob, I know I'm going to be back in this book because I like what he does, and so you just sign up and that helps him have a great day one, I guess.
Yeah, this is my I would say I'm popping my Indiegogo cherry here with Wirehead, because I've done Kickstarter, and but I've noticed everything has evolved with comics now. This is the place for comics, as from what I'm seeing, and in terms
Yeah.
of old storytelling and stuff like that. So I'm excited to do this. So, and I think it's important to have that first one to kind of. I know this is weird, but maybe Jason could probably relate, and of course you, Clint, was like, you gain the trust of the people. Say, listen, hey, I could back this, I could fulfill it properly and everything like that. You'll get quality and you'll get everything on time. So this way, like, all right, you know what, this was done right, and I'll back his next thing because I trust him. Right? Is that it's important, right?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
that's the
something
biggest.
I want to try doing. I've seen some people do that. Actually, Peter might have done this, huh? But a virtual convention where you got like a table set up and you're on camera.
Yeah, we could do that. That was fun.
We were talking about Plastic City Comic Con out there, and I've said, one of my dreams, like on my bucket list, is I want to be on the other side of the table at a convention. And then a worldwide pandemic happened, and so I was like this close to buying a plane ticket in the spring for the fall. I think Plastic City Comic Con would be coming up soon.
Wow.
If they were holding it, and I was going to go and meet all the alternate creators in person and do all that, and I was looking forward to it. Now I'm like, dang, I don't get to do it. So I don't know. I think wonder if we could get something like that figured out and have a couple streams involved or something. I don't know.
That would be
I think
great.
it'd be fun. You could probably coordinate and do some kind of a
Yeah.
virtual convention.
Have day one, day two. You know what I mean? Like, you could do something like that. Yeah, because New York Comic Con was like, that was a big show for me. So it kind of stinks I'm not going to have that now in October. And so I guess this Indiegogo might help, hopefully, because it's around the same time.
And you don't have to move your stuff, at least.
Oh, no, I don't. No. Look, as much as I need that show, I don't really want to do it. And I'm fortunate that it's my best show of the year. But, oh, man, just it's not a natural environment at all for many different reasons.
Yeah.
Like, what, Comic-Con?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Have you exhibited there, Charlie?
No, I after all those years in advertising, and for some reason when my kids were born, I started drawing cartoons again. Maybe because they're around the house and you draw them, and they're sort of shaped like cartoons. That's about all I can think of why it happened that way. And they have the big eyes and the big head, and so I'm drawing them all the time. And I drew my boy as Cupid, and I just kept drawing and drawing and drawing. And so my sister looked at me and said, "You're drawing comics again. This is that what you want to do?" I said, "Yeah, I guess. I don't know." So she took me to Comic-Con in 2014, and I went up to Neil Adams and said, "Hey, you did continuity, and you're a comic book legend. What do I do? Comics or advertising?" And he said, "Well, do both."
There you go.
Why didn't I think of that? I had to come and ask a legend. It's a simple question. And I said, "Okay, all right." He said, "Yeah, I don't do continuity as much anymore because advertising's all inside guys." And I said, "I'm an inside guy. That's who you're talking
There you
about."
go. Yeah.
So, that 2014 was the first con I was at since 1991.
Wow.
And
It's changed. It's changed.
Yeah, 91 I was in Nassau Coliseum, and it was essentially just Nassau Coliseum. The ice was melted and it was just empty, and it was just artists in Artist Alley and people selling comic books directly out of cardboard boxes. There was nothing fancy. And then 2014 I was there, and there was Wetaworks and 3D stuff, and I was like, this isn't anything like I remember it.
Oh, it's insane. I think 2014 because I've been exhibiting there for about 7 years now. So I was that the one when they had Smog the Dragon when Wetawork was there. It was like insane when they had that might have been that year. It's ridiculous. I'm like, what is going on?
They brought all the armor. That was it. I was standing there with my sister, and I was like, what is this about to happen? And they took one guy who was standing there, and they suited him up. They put all the latex and the full suit on, and they put him in the full Hobbit outfit.
Yep, it was so insane.
Or whatever the hell it was. and we were just blown away. And
It was a
all I
dwarf.
cared about was I touched an R2D2. That's all I really cared about. I have a picture with R2D2 where I'm just doing that. It's just a garbage can. I don't know.
It's such an insane show. I mean, Saturday last year, there were 200,000 people on Saturday alone. I mean,
Wow.
talk about
Wow.
human soup. It was just absolutely, it was insane. It's really crazy. But, I mean, we could go on a whole thing about that, but the direction they're taking with it, I mean, it's not about the comics, and we know that, So that's why I think these crowdfunders and stuff like this is where you're going to hit the people who are really there, are here for comics. Because Saturday, although you get that many people, that's one of my worst days because everyone's there just to dress up. That's it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
the
I mean, I
cosplay
like
con-
it. It's
interesting.
nice, and at the same time, it's not.
Right.
Almost your favorite band became the biggest band in the world.
That's exactly it. Yes.
And you think, I don't know. Let's go back to the acoustic set, guys. This is
It's the
fun.
perfect analogy. I'm going to use that from now on. Fantastic. It's so true. Oh my god.
Yeah, well, Peter says that he is going to do. Let's see.
Yeah, I saw it.
We'll be having another Alternicon in October, so
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That'll be fun. That's as close as I'm going to get for a little while. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah, sci-fi for me. He's got a great YouTube channel. Yeah. So I think we're going to wrap up here soon. I don't want to keep you guys too long, but I appreciate both Rob and Jason for coming on as
Of course.
our special guests for today. Really appreciate that.
Yeah,
Everyone,
totally.
check out Fatal. I think I posted the link. I don't know. I'm trying to post all these links as much as I can, but there's Fatal again. I think the link's in the description below this video too if you're watching it after the fact. If you haven't gone in there and backed it, please do. Once we hit that 50K, I'm going to announce the next goal, and it's going to go into making the book even better. So that'll be the focus there on the next stretch goal. And once we hit 50,000, everyone gets a fold out poster 11x17 with their book.
Nice.
So I think people will like that. Jason Brubaker's Phobos graphic novel is live on Indiegogo right now.
Killer.
He's
Are you happy since you left LA?
Oh yeah, I'm so glad I'm not there anymore. Yeah.
I'm in New Jersey, and I look around and I think all the time, I wouldn't have to make one single storyboard if I didn't live in this dumb state.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
my family went on vacation to the Jersey Shore, and I'm home drawing a storyboard.
yeah.
What the hell's going on? And I'm waiting on notes. It's just, come on.
Awful.
Yeah.
It's murder. I can't do that stuff anymore. I can't. I'm getting flashbacks. I'm getting sweats. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to leave. How you said you went back to
I
Idaho?
started.
Idaho.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
So
considering?
when I moved to LA, I did actual storyboards and commercials. So I was kind of in that same boat that you guys were talking about too for probably about 12 years, and then I went into DreamWorks, and so then it slowed down a little bit, and it was more the big movies and stuff. But I can totally relate. Yeah.
Did you have to work in the studio at DreamWorks, or from
Yeah.
home?
I worked in the studio.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. It was
There's
a
nothing.
beautiful
There's
studio.
no reason you had to be there.
Well,
Right?
now you can get away with that pretty easily, but it is attractive campus. I mean, they give us free food too. Like, you could talk to all these artists and get inspired by each other. It was a fun environment. So especially DreamWorks, their campus. I wouldn't want to
Was
work
there-
at like Disney
there
on
ping-
their campus.
Was there ping pong?
There was all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
I
there was
would.
all
All right,
kinds
I
of
might
fun.
go to work if there was ping pong.
DreamWorks was a good campus. That's the only campus that I would really want to go to. But yeah, all the freelance stuff was kind of on and off
From
at
home.
home. And
Well,
running
me and the
different
kids,
studios.
my kids love Kung Fu Panda, so good job.
Good, thanks. Hey, I wanted to ask you, Charlie, your inspirations for what you're doing now is I can see Todd McFarlane in there. Who else were you inspired by?
Frazetta?
And influenced this style.
Big Frazetta.
Okay.
Frazetta's comic stuff. I don't
Mhm.
care about Frazetta's paintings. They're great.
Mm.
I just don't care compared to the comic stuff. The those romance things. Oh, those are beautiful. I think those are the best. And those jungle things, you could see it in Kelsey's work too. Kelsey did that thing with Chuck Dixon. that
Jungle Comics,
that I missed it, but that was one of the comics I wanted most. That those I didn't even know about Wally Wood. What's it? Donald DeLay said Donald DeLay paid me a huge compliment. He said it looks like Todd McFarlane. My work, he said, looks like Todd McFarlane inked Wally Wood's pencils over Frazetta's layout or something like that. I said,
Oh,
thank you. Good. That's a good compliment.
Hit all three right there.
But when he said that
so
to me,
neat.
I said, "Who's Wally Wood? I don't know who Wally Wood is."
Oh.
And I went back and looked. Frazetta and Al Williamson took everything from Wally Wood.
Yeah,
he's
Yeah,
the
that's
origin.
he is the origin.
That's cool.
It's
So,
such beautiful work.
that
Your stuff.
and thank you very much. That's I loved J. Scott Campbell when I was.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the guys when. Well, I'm assuming we're around the same age, 40 something.
Yeah.
Campbell and now I don't know, what am I missing? I know there's other stuff that I'm missing. Ashley Wood. I didn't care about Todd once he did Spawn. Once Todd did Spawn, I kind of thought the elders. Oh, John Byrne. John Byrne's the biggest.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like Spawn. Am I the only one? I liked all the other
Yeah,
stuff.
it was all right. I loved his
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
Spider-Man. I thought the Spider-Man stuff was fun and the Jim Lee stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
I was just listening to Fragaboom. Did you guys hear him talking to the guy? Clint, did you? I told you. Fragaboom's talking to a guy that worked on Ninja Turtles right now. I can't remember his name. And I can't remember his name.
Was
Fowler.
it Kevin Eastman? Oh.
No, it was an Englishman. And he mentioned he wrote the book that Ashley Wood illustrated for the Spawn stuff. And I always remember Ashley Wood. I keep that now next to my table. I keep some Frazetta. I keep John Byrne's Fantastic Four run, and I keep Cyberfrog now. Cyberfrog is a benchmark for how beautiful you can make a book.
Yeah,
but I keep Ashley Wood's book next to me. But I'm not doing what Ashley Wood does. But
no,
he might be. I know what Todd McFarlane's up to. I know what Frank Frazetta is up to. I know what Ethan Van Sciver's up to when they're drawing stuff. I don't know what the hell Ashley Wood's doing.
I don't have a clue. I can't figure it out. That guy is unbelievable. And it's mixed media too. He's got going on too sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only time here's maybe what's happening. The only time I ever got close to that looks familiar. Whatever I just did looks sort of like an Ashley Wood thing. It's not in here at all, but it would be sort of when you do a mixed media thing and you go quick and you don't care.
Yeah.
If you go quick and you don't care, somebody say, "Hey, this looks like Ashley Wood a little bit."
Oh yeah. I mean, his work on Hellspawn was like huge for me. That was really big.
That's beautiful. RT Bear, a big influence for me. I love RT Bear's work. I remember those guys. I don't know. Did I see his name? RT Bear was in there with. Maybe he's a little older. Was it Paul Jenkins? I don't know. Oh, Paul Jenkins is the guy. He's saying his name. That was the writer, Clint.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Paul Jenkins was the writer that did the Spawn stuff with Ashley Wood. Travis Charest was that? RT Bear was up there, and Brett Booth. They were laying down amazing artwork.
Oh, yeah.
They were setting a tone for decades, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know.
And this is exactly why I'm like, Charlie doesn't need to be doing storyboards. He needs to be doing comics.
Yeah.
So I just scrolling through your art too. It's just so fun and people appreciate and are super into the art. And I don't know, the more like I remember I'm always trying to get people into comics, and I'll show like my brother, like, look at this page, and he's, oh, okay, it's illustration. But the more I'm starting to show him, the more he's like realizing, oh, there's something special happening here. There's something, this is cool about that. And that's what I love about just comics fans, is that you're really into illustration. It's just part of reading through pages and pages of great illustration. You start spotting, the stuff that you love, and I don't know what excites you about comics. And I don't know, I just love it.
Aren't you surprised if you show some work and you show some garbage that somebody pumped out at a high rate of speed one of those artists. I'm not going to name an artist that works at a high rate that is completely uninteresting. And then you put it next to something that's super interesting, and you show somebody, and they can't see the difference.
Yeah.
Do you have eyes? Can you see? Do you see stuff? I could never get around that. My mother could never see the difference between, I don't know. I was going to say Jim Lee and I don't know. Who's a fan? Who
Jim
works
Davis.
fast?
Jim Lee and Jim Davis. I love Jim Davis too.
Bill Watterson. Bill Watterson's a huge influence for me.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Bill Watterson's a huge influence for me. I was essentially drawing Spaceman Spiff. Yeah. And I showed it to Clint and said, "Could you tell me what I'm doing here?" to Clint, and Clint laid out the what we were doing. He sort of he just told me what we were doing. Oh, that's what we're doing. Did RT Bear just say something? What did he say?
He says Fatal. Let's see. Let's pull it up. Fatal is an amazing looking book. Everyone should pick up a copy. He said so, so I think that's a good idea.
Thank you, RT Bear.
Appreciate that.
Everyone must listen to RT Bear.
That's it.
Must go to Indiegogo. Must get good comics. RT Bear has hypnotized me. Get good comics. Does that work? Does anyone feel hypnotized?
Should I refresh it? Here, he said it. Oh, we're gonna be embarrassed if I do. I know. I'll wait a minute.
RT Bear has written, so let it be written. So let it be done.
Yes.
What is that from? Why is that in my head?
I think that's from Ten Commandments. I think that was on your Yul Brynner right there.
Yes. Oh wait, in my head I was thinking it was the King and I, but that's
close.
Yul Brynner.
The other king, the Egyptian one.
Yul Brynner. I always thought when I went bald, I thought I'll look as good as Yul Brynner, right?
Me too.
No.
Mine, I'm like, Bruce Willis is a good-looking bald man.
Bruce Willis, Patrick Stewart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you name off handsome bald men to make yourself feel better about going bald, but it doesn't make you any more handsome at the end of the day.
You know what I think might be important?
You know, Bruce Willis is a handsome bald man.
In my normal life, normally I speak, around here. This is my normal voice. I think if I speak in one register lower, I might get a little, now what do you think of the way I look as a bald man? Speak like Yul Brynner or Patrick Stewart, you get 2 degrees hotter right away.
True.
You'll suddenly become one of the hunks of Comicsgate.
It's science right there.
I think it works. Cool. So let it be written. So let it be done.
That's it. Careful now. Pain is going to flow through the window into your head now.
Dude, as soon as I heard you talk, I thought, I know he's from New York. I just can't tell exactly where. Which borough?
Staten Island.
All right.
Yeah, all my family's from Brooklyn, and we moved here to Staten Island.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Staten Island, at FIT, did you go to the parties at the Society of Illustrators?
Oh, of course.
Oh, what a great party, man.
Yeah.
And I was there at one party one time. It's such a good place. We used to go and do life drawings there and just hang out.
And they would drink wine. They had the food, and they would have the band, and you would just sit there, and people of all different skill level would draw all these models as they would pose and everything like that.
So nice. Clint, you want to take your wife out for a wonderful night. Take her to a nearby museum where they have a life drawing session. Mm-hmm. And just get 2 pads of paper, and it's... I don't know. Maybe because... draw naked people. It's good. There's something that's really, it's good for you. I don't know why. It's just good for you. And I think people, it's so it is so healthy to just, even because in FIT we always had, there was either a super hot chick or a total crackhead. Or a giant fatso.
I gotta get you on my channel. We have to talk about this stuff. We have to do this.
You're just drawing there saying, I didn't know a man could have rolls this big. He has so many rolls. And there was other times. Do you ever draw some guy and he's getting a semi-chub and you're thinking, what's happening in this room? What are you even looking at?
I tell him, I always like, listen, turn the air up or something. Like, what's going on? It's comfortable.
I don't know. You guys are making it sound less fun.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. That was.
Oh, wait, that's the best part. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So
Jason's like, I just met this guy.
Weird shit would just happen. We had this one French lady. She was so fat, and she was this big giant fat pink lady, and she was she talking in French accent. She come and after usually the models they would be naked, and they would pose, and then 20 minutes would be up, and they would put their robe on and they would walk around. This French fat lady would never put her robe back on. And you would be sitting there at your easel drawing, and then bing, and she would climb off the stand, and she would just stand next to you, just fully naked, looking at your artwork, and she would say, "Oh, darling, that's very so good. You painted me so nice." And you're looking at her thinking, "Your vagina's right next to my head. Could you back up?" She was unaware that she was naked in a room, telling you all sorts of things. We would drink French, in France we have bird's nest soup, huh? You take a bird's nest soup, you took the whole nest out of the tree and you put it in for the soup and you turn it on. Bird's nest soup, this lady was telling me about as she's standing there saying, your drawing is very nice, and back up, your labia is right next to my easel.
Oh, gosh.
Well, now you know it has to be super accurate when you draw that labia now.
Sounds like a party.
What are you drinking there, Charlie? That's not apple juice, is it?
No, it's Johnny Walker Black.
Oh, there you go.
We hit it. All right.
By the way, Clint,
I'll
those were ridiculous. Take your wife.
Yeah.
It's such a nice night. Have tea. The naked people won't usually come up to you and talk to you right next to you. Have tea, sit at the easels, go to the museum, and draw naked people. It's the only way to learn how to draw. I was against it as a young artist. Yeah. I was very comic books and just I don't need photographs. I don't need reference. I'm going to make everything up. It's going to be all fun. I'm never going to do any of that shit. It's going to be pretend for my imagination. And then you go and you do that stuff, and the drawing from life opens up your imagination in a way that you can't even imagine.
Alejandro Mirabel, who's Long Harbor artist, he told me that life drawing is like steroids for your art. That's what he told me. So absolutely, yeah, I need time. I'm not even. I have a lot of work to do on my art, but someday I'd love to draw my own book. I think it'd be so fun, even if it's just whatever. I just having one book done would be great. 5 pages would be awesome.
Well, I mean, just even these two guys know, just when you start drawing, you actually understand the world differently. Because the processing the world as it comes in, you process information, and then you have to regurgitate it in a different way, and it changes the way you see everything.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
It doesn't just change that you can draw better. It actually transforms your understanding of the world, and it takes it sort of a step out, and you could observe the world a little differently, and then you can reinterpret it. Either try and do it in an unbiased way and just make an accurate drawing, or then you could say, I'm going to ratchet up. You can see how people are biased. If you could control your own bias when you reinterpret the world this way or that way, and you could devil's advocate in any direction because you've understood the world differently. Right. Everybody should do it.
It's true.
Makes sense.
I agree.
Yeah, I get it. I'll have to try it again. I need some time. I really want to do some. I just got to do some drawing. I think it'd be good. I got to do some writing too now. Appreciate everyone coming out to the stream. Jason, Rob, Charlie, thank you all for coming on to the show. Everyone check out Phobos, Fatal, Wirehead. those are the 3 things we're promoting today. Links are in the description,
Thank
and
you,
I'll
guys.
see you tomorrow in another regular video. Appreciate you guys.
Take
Thank you
care.
so much.